Although mass media is not new, there are many technological advances that have contributed to the enormous growth in advertisements, television shows, and other forms of media. It began with newspapers and books and has grown to be everywhere. The most common form of mass media, advertisements, surround people all of the time, every day. There are advertisements on television, on the radio, on billboards, on the side of the road, on websites, as well as many other places. People are constantly surrounded by advertisements, so there is essentially no way to avoid them. Advertising contributes for popular brands, styles, and music, as well as what to eat and who to vote for. It can change our opinion about pretty much anything, including ourselves. As a woman, I have fallen victim to this before. I have scrutinized my own face, body, hair, and everything else while comparing myself to a computer-generated woman in an advertisement that does not even truly exist. The worst part about it was I was not ignorant to Photoshop, but in my mind, I still felt like I should be able to achieve the perfect face and body. I know I'm not the only woman to compare myself to a doctored photo, and how it's made me feel has made me interested in the effects that these images have on other young women. I wanted to know whether my reaction to mass media is a common theme or if I was an outlier in a traditionally positive advertising world. From my research, I found I was not alone, and this is a common problem among women. In a report titled, "Can the Media Affect Us? Social Comparison, Self-Discrepancy, and the Thin Ideal," published in the Psychology of Women Quarterly from the University of Connecticut, a study was done on undergraduate women with and without negative views on their body. It was found that exposure to thin ideal advertisements had a negative effect on both groups of women, especially the women who already had self-esteem issues. It was concluded that viewing these advertisements can lead to body dissatisfaction, lowered self-esteem, and even levels of depression. A British news site, The Telegraph, posted an article titled, "Women Suffer Poor Self-Esteem Due to Airbrushing and Advertising." According to this article, advertisements containing airbrushed images of women directly harm the self-esteem of women exposed to them. Representatives for the brand Dove surveyed over 1,000 women, and the overall conclusion was that advertisements had a negative effect on the lives of women. This survey stated that 40% of the women felt self-conscious about their bodies because of these advertisements. It also said that 28% of the women felt inadequate after being exposed to these advertisements, and 20% of them felt that their daily lives were interrupted by exposure to airbrushed advertising. This means that 1 in 5 women feel that advertisements negatively affect their lives every day. They also overwhelmingly agree that the women in advertising are usually not realistic, with 96% saying that they believe that women in today's advertising do not accurately represent the women of society. In an academic journal, Pediatrics, I found an article titled, "Parental Factors, Mass Media Influences, and the Onset of Eating Disorders in a Prospective Population-Based Cohort." It was about a research study done on young women aged 12 to 21. They assessed all of these young women to find out if they had an eating disorder or not, and then after 18 months, the young women who did not originally have an eating disorder were told to come back and be reassessed. When returning, they found 90 new cases of eating disorders among the girls. While there were other factors that contributed to these eating disorders, one of the top 3 was girls that said they often looked at magazines or listened to the radio. The study called the exposure to mass media statistically significant when it came to raising the chances of an eating disorder. This is important because it shows that mass media can have extreme effects, not just create small self-esteem issues. I have a visual aid for you to look at, which shows women in advertising and how they are portrayed. Most of these women are beautiful and unrealistic to compare other women to. Mass media exposure is nearly impossible to avoid, and it is definitely affecting us. The best way to deal with these effects is just to be conscious that they're happening, and to understand that a lot of the images we see in the media are not real. I hope that after today you are more aware of the images in the media and more understanding of how they may be affecting you or the people you are surrounded by. Thank you.